Hello there and welcome back, my friends. In this video we're going to be taking a look at my entire fish room. We're going to go through all of my tanks and just do a mini update for each of them. I figured doing a video with all my tanks in as like little mini updates would be better than doing individual updates for each of my systems. It's not something that everybody likes to watch. So if you don't like this video, make sure to smash the dislike button and unsubscribe. So if you're familiar with my channel, you'll probably know I've got quite a few tanks in this shed now. You may recognise my QBQ30. It's gone through a bit of a transformation since my last video, and that's when I added this little koi betta fish. It's doing really well. In fact, I think it's doing a little bit too well. Some of the plants are starting to get a bit outcompeted by this lotus. This lotus is definitely growing really quickly. It's sucking out all of the nutrients. You can see that even by the fact the duckweed is in decline. That's definitely because there is just so much competition coming from this lotus. It looks really nice though. The fish are really healthy. I am getting a little bit of cyano and a little bit of hair algae. And again, that's just because of the balance isn't quite right here with regards to nutrients. I have been putting in there flourish and some liquid CO2, but still it's not quite right. So I'm gonna have to give this a big trim. I love this little betta. Really friendly, and I feed him on these pellets here, Ocean Nutrition Attison's Betta Pro. I think they're a really good food. They float quite well. You see they float really well, but also when they sink really slowly. So it gives the betta a chance to eat from the surface how they would in the wild, and it just obviously got everything in there that a betta needs. And then we have the 5-foot saltwater Mackerel Algae Lagoon. This tank's doing really well. I have added a few new fish since my last update video on it. You can see there are some mollies in there. I love mollies, so you'll understand why I've added them in there. But not just that, I need them to stop breeding. So although this won't stop them from breeding, at least when they do breed, the babies will become food for the wrasse and things, because I've got probably around 50, if not more, babies of mollies. Which we'll get onto in a second. This tank's doing exceptionally well though. The mackerel algae is getting really quite big. The coloration of it is really nice. I did have a bit of an issue with the caulerpa going sexual a while ago. Unfortunately, it's about half the volume it was back then, but it's doing quite nicely. I have upgraded the filter, so the last time you saw this tank was on that 207 over there. But because I added a Watchman goby, he's been digging like crazy, creating all kinds of sediment, and the sediment was landing all over the mackerel algae, so I needed more mechanical filtration, hence the FX4. That has increased the flow throughout the tank, and the sedimentation is now under control, so happy days. The Royal Grammar that's in there is out of the Fluval Flex 123 because he killed the firefish, so really annoying. I thought he might be aggressive, but he's a super aggressive Royal Grammar. The anemone has grown. It's probably 3 times the size, very protective clownfish, about 3 times the size that it was, so happy days. And then let's move on to this tank here. This is a separate tank from my main saltwater system, and we have exciting things happening in this system. So firstly, you may notice that this tank's a bit yellow. And that's because I've put a new light on this tank. This is a complete experiment. This isn't a marine light. This isn't even an aquarium light. The light on this tank is an Arcadia Jungle Dawn, 51 watts. And this is for vivariums or paludariums. Basically, not mackerel algae or aquarium plants. However, plants are plants, okay? So they all require a very similar spectrum, and these lights have amazing ratings in terms of growing plants in paludariums. So I thought, why not stick it on here and see how it does with mackerel algae? It's been on there just over a week, and I would say there have definitely been some changes. One of the changes is a lot of the red mackerel algae has kind of panicked, and a lot of it has died back because obviously this light is incredibly bright, and the light that was on it before is now here, which was this one here, and that's the Fluval Bluetooth Marine 3.0. I've stuck it down here with a Freshen Plant or Plant 3.0, whatever it is. So that's got 2 on it, but this light is double the brightness of the light that was on it. So everything's had a bit of a shock. However, things that have died back, like this Gracilaria on the rock, is sprouting new bits. So I reckon what's going to happen is all the bits that were used to the low light is going to die, and then it's going to regrow with stems that are more used to brighter light. However, the green algae is doing extremely well. Caulerpa, Halimeda and Ulva, it's all doing really, really well under this light. So there's definitely something going on. This is an experiment. I want to see what happens. I got this light literally just to see what would happen to mackerel algae. The other exciting thing is my Bangai Cardinals, which I've been trying to get breeding for the last year, have finally got a clutch of eggs in the male's mouth. They've been there for about a week, so fingers crossed we're going to get some Bangai Cardinal babies. That would be amazing. Now I can show you my main mackerel algae system. These 3 4-foot tanks are all linked together via a sump under there. The sump's an old horse trough, but it works. You can see everything is blooming. The fish are happy. In fact, I've got more mackerel algae than I know what to do with. Even though I sell it, I'm still overwhelmed by the amount of mackerel algae I've got. The lights on here are Trispec 2 by Interpet. Obviously, you can see they grow mackerel algae exceptionally. One thing that's happened, and the reason the Southern mollies are in the other 5-foot tank, is because I've got millions of babies. Absolutely tons of babies. There are mollies everywhere. Now these are Southern mollies, so once they get bigger they're going to be beautiful. But what do you do with so many baby mollies? They are everywhere, and not just in that tank. I've got more in this tank, and yeah, this is saltwater. I mean, it's really cool. Don't get me wrong, I did this for a reason. I wanted them to breed, but I'm actually a little bit overwhelmed with how often they have bred and how many have come out. One interesting thing though is the majority of them are female. I don't know if this is something to do with them being born in salt water, but it seems very rare from this small sample size to actually get a male Southern molly or any molly in salt water. They all seem to be female. I don't know why this is. Maybe someone can tell me. And then the final tank on this system is what I call my junk tank. However, my junk tank now seems to be one of the most attractive tanks on the system, and it's home to my porcupine puffer. His name's Chunky. His favourite food is prawn, and you can see he has a very fat belly. But yeah, this tank's basically where I chuck whatever I've got left over mackerel algae wise. I've just chucked it in there. I haven't placed it to be a display tank. I've got a whole load of Cheeto there as well, and it's turning really nice. Moving on, we have the Flex 123 Marine. If you watched the last video, again you can see that this one's changed quite a bit. Kind of for the better, but not quite. I've got quite a lot of green algae growing in here. We've got quite a bit of hair algae, and we've got ulva. I don't mind the ulva. The hair algae should disappear, and we've also got the dreaded bryopsis. So I wouldn't say this tank's a bit of a mess. I actually quite like it. It looks really nice, and the fish that I've put in there are really benefiting from it. So I've got a bicolour blenny, so he's really happy in there because he's got lots of food to graze on, and a pipefish. Now these fish are really hard to film. There's the blue pipefish. I'd like to get a female because he's a male, and then possibly breed them in here, because you can breed them in an aquarium. As I said earlier, the firefish got killed by the Royal Grammer, so I haven't got him anymore. I've also got a blue mandarin in here, so he's benefiting along with the pipefish from all of this mackerel algae, because obviously it's full of copepods and amphipods and things for him to eat. They're really hard to film, so all I've managed to get is just some film of him running away. I bought this piece of Soliaria a couple of weeks ago, probably a month ago, and actually it had some mushrooms on it as well, so I got lucky there. These are the first corals in this tank, and you can see they're really big and really healthy, so they're enjoying themselves. So thank you so much for watching. If you've managed to get this far in this video and you've enjoyed it, please remember to leave a like. Well, once again, thanks for watching, and happy fish keeping!